We talk a lot about inflation and supply chain here on Winner Take All. So today, I'm going to tell a little bit different kind of a story where I was able to buy an extra car, make 20 grand, all with just a couple days of effort. I'm Alex Mozed, CEO of Applico, co-author of the book Modern Monopolies. It talks all about platform business models, and host of Winner Take All. We talk a lot about how new business models are disrupting industries. Today we're going to talk about how these platform monopolies and the media would like you to think that everything is normal in the economy, but it's not. And today's story is a prime anecdotal experience, a personal experience of mine, as a testament to show that we are living in a very peculiar time. The economy is not operating in a normal environment. And so we're going to talk about how that happened and how this is an example of the bigger story about the economy, inflation, and the supply chain. My family and I recently moved to Florida. We just had our first child. We needed another car. I've been trying to buy American cars. I've had a Ford Bronco, one of the new ones, the top of the line Bronco, on order for like over a year and a half now. Applico has worked with Ford and their executive team since 2017. We help them buy tech companies. I've sent my order number and stuff to the people I know at Ford to try and get, skip the line. Still don't have the Bronco, and it's now 2022. And we needed another car, and I liked the Cadillac Escalades. A friend of mine knows, has a guy, a really, hooked up car dealer. And so I knew I was paying over sticker for this new Escalade. I wanted to call up some actual Cadillac dealers just to see how badly he was screwing me. How much of a premium was I actually paying? And was he giving me a good deal like he was saying he was giving me a good deal, or was he really just rinsing me? And in the process of doing that, I called up a number of Cadillac dealers who said, there's no way you can get a new Escalade. You're going to have to wait 6+ months unless you want to pay a premium. Good luck. And so I went to my friend's dealer, and paid the premium and got the car from him. But then here's where it got interesting. Just so happened that one of those sales guys called me up a couple weeks later and said, hey Alex, someone is not taking delivery of their car, which they ordered 7 months ago. Would you like the car? I'd already bought the car from my friend's dealer. And I was thinking to myself, on the show, I always talk about inflation. I always talk about supply chain disruptions and how they're not going away anytime soon. In a normal environment, in a normal operating economy, buying a new car with any expectation of being able to make money, buying a second Cadillac Escalade, would not be a money-making thing to do, right? What's supposed to happen is you buy a new car, you drive off the lot, it loses 30% of the value, right? That is the mantra of buying a new car. But we are not living in normal times. So I said, screw it. I think at the very least, I'll be able to get my money back for the car. Like, I don't really have much downside, but I thought it'd be a fun little exercise to see, could I make money buying a second Escalade over $100,000 car, just for the hell of it, as a fun exercise to see, do the things I talk about on the show actually play out and kind of put my money where my mouth is? I said, yeah, I'd be interested in buying a second Escalade. He said, okay, well, if you want to do it, you need to buy it like right now. I go, right now? Yeah, right now, give me your credit card. I thought he was blowing smoke, right? I thought he was just juicing me for the sale, like trying to make it seem like these cars were that much in demand. It's actually true. That people would drive there, and if you can't get to the dealership within 30 minutes, the car is sold. Basically, what the dealership was doing is, if someone doesn't take delivery of their car, it's a race. Whichever sales guy can get that car booked first sells the car. You got to give me your credit card right now. It's a few $1,000s deposit. I said, okay, sure. Car's going to get here next week. You put down the deposit, and I'd have to go buy the car the following week. I didn't really know any of the specs, didn't really know anything about the car. I just knew it was the premium, super hooked up, platinum sport Escalade, the top of the line Escalade. And they look sick. I now had effectively ownership over 2 Escalades. If I didn't end up buying the car, I lose maybe like half the deposit or something like that. So, I could maybe lose a couple $1,000s if I don't end up buying the car. But I'm gonna buy the car and try and flip it, and let's just see what happens. I went into it thinking, if I do lose money, maybe I lose a couple $1,000s, but I thought I have a pretty good chance of making some money. and thought it'd be a fun just exercise to see if all the stuff I talk about on the show actually plays out in real life. Put down the deposit, car came in a week later, went to the dealership, looked at the car. It was a nice car. It was a white, exterior. It's actually a brand new 2022 Escalade. A maroon interior, had not only a fridge in the center console, had a freezer. It was hooked up. It was fully loaded, which the sales guy told me, but I didn't know any of the specs. I didn't know any of the specs when I had to give him the deposit. So $113,000 car, you probably got another like 10 to 12 grand of goodies and tax on top. So you're actually walking out of the door more so at around like $125,000, $126,000. I didn't know any of this when I gave the deposit. Did I think about pulling out? No, at this point I was in it. I was committed. We're doing this. At this point I just had to see it through. And I felt like these things were going for more. I was looking online. You would see listings for, used Escalades, 2021 model for, $140,000 with 5,000 miles on them. I felt like there was enough room there that at the very least you'd break even. That was my hedge. You break even, maybe you lose a couple $1,000s, but I had a feeling you'd make money. So I got home, tell my wife, hey babe, well I bought a second Escalade, and she hears me talking about my crazy things like, yeah, inflation's going nuts, yeah, we need to lever up, yeah, we need to buy hard physical assets, and there's no way I could have done this without her. I'm good at like buying the thing, but then she actually had to go through all the motion of figuring out how to sell it and then deal with the inquiries and then go through all those mechanics, which I'm going to talk to in a second. But that is actually where the time sink came in. Buying the car was the easier part of it if you can find and source the inventory, right? The other really 2 days of work effort was actually on selling the car and going through all those motions, which she fortunately was able to take on. We got, probably about $250,000 worth of Escalade just sitting in the driveway. She goes to a few of the car marketplaces, which I pointed her in the right direction. There's basically 3 car marketplaces. There's eBay Motors, there's Auto Trader, and there's Car Gurus. Immediately what you'll find is like you have a bunch of bots messaging you, like just spammy messages like, hey, send me your cell phone number. Hey, like send me this, send me that. They like try and give you a cashier's check, which once it clears in 7 days is not going to clear, it's going to bounce, but now they've got the car and have fun. So there's some weird stuff going on out there with inquiries, but eventually she figured it out. Ultimately, Car Gurus was the one which we ended up finding 2 buyers who were interested in ultimately the white 2022 Escalade. Both buyers were actually dealers, and what they're doing is they're buying your car and then they're going to go sell the car and put even more money on top of it. So that was a crazy thing to us. That's not supposed to happen. That's not a normal opportunity in a properly functioning economy. So it's 113 MSRP. You paid like 150 bucks in listing fees. Taxes like 6 grand. Service, warranty, maintenance, another 6 grand. Call it you're at like 126 and change, you sell it for 139 and change, $13,000. We sold it. Dealer who contacted us just paid what we had it listed for. The reason why we made almost $20,000 is because if you sell your car within 2 months of buying it, you can actually submit forms to get your sales tax refunded because you can actually keep the car. I think it's a 60-day window of time. So that's currently in process of trying to get the sales tax refunded because, we bought the car and sold it within 2 months. And so if you can get the 6 grand and change of sales tax back, yeah, you made roughly 20 grand. We actually ended up selling the car so fast that the bank hadn't even fully processed our accounts. You can put 10% down on the car, by the way. So on like a $120,000 car, I think you can put $10,000 down. You'll literally finance the rest of the thing. Your financing will come in anywhere between 4 to 5, maybe 5.5%, depending upon how much you put down and your credit. I mean, it's insane, right? And then you take into account 5, 6, 7% interest. You're actually making money on that loan. I know it's weird to think about, but you're actually making money on that loan. So we sold the car so fast that between the time the bank had to set up the account, give you an account number, they actually didn't have it. So we'd sold the car to the dealer, we'd signed the documents with this dealer who was buying the car from us, and then we actually had to wait a few days for the bank to get everything fully set up in their system, which was crazy. But yeah, that's how hot the market is. The reason I did this video It's not because I'm trying to brag about making $15,000, $20,000 selling an Escalade. The reason I did this video is twofold. One, to prove a point that the economy we are living in is not operating properly, and you shouldn't be able to do these things. That's what we talk about on the show, and it's now been proven correct by my own personal experience. Two, the economic conditions that we are living in are not going to last. This economy is not sustainable, and inflation is going to really hurt lower to middle income families. And so if you are able to try and get ahead and do things, I'm not saying go flip cars, but while the Fed is printing money, while the crash is not here, if you can try and squirrel away money and take advantage and look at these physical assets and look at kind of this arbitrage that's going on, now's the time to do it, because inflation's not going away. The federal government and the Fed are not going to be able to print money forever. And the more people kind of recognize where we are now and then take action, whatever action means, now's the time to do it. You got to get out in front of this. Otherwise, if you don't try to diversify or shore up your finances or kind of get prepared, it's going to be painful when this hits and things really get dire. So enjoy it while you can, have some fun while you can, but in all seriousness, you can actually thrive if you prepare yourself for the future. Unfortunately, big tech and the media and many of the government and federal officials are trying to convince you that what is actually the situation is not the situation. And they're actually doing a disservice to the American people by not addressing reality and trying to just pull the wool over everyone's eyes. But it's not working. I flipped a car, $120,000 car, which is supposed to be a depreciating asset. You're not supposed to be able to flip a car and make money. You're supposed to buy the car and lose money when you drive it off the lot. But now, in the environment and the economic situation that we live in, you can buy these cars and flip them and make some money. It's crazy. It's crazy. So, hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you want to see more stuff like this, and I'll try and figure out some other topical things to bring up.